two, thing one, thing two, thing one. Sometimes when things just aren't going how you want them to, or you put on your vision board at the beginning of the year, sometimes it just helps that to have something you can control over, something you can laugh about, So my parodies are not so much making fun of myself, but making fun of reality and the situation, and just kind of providing myself my own comic relief, honestly. So I've just been going nonstop. I've tried not to stop too long to think about my personal life or situation or how I'm feeling or my emotions. I've purposefully not been checking in with myself because I kind of know how I'm feeling. I've been looking to change my industry and career, nonstop doing interviews and meetings, and let me tell you, it's not been easy. And I'll get super excited for a project or a company, and they're like, oh yeah, we want to bring you on, we're super excited about you, we love you, your resume, blah blah blah, and then you do a couple interviews and then crickets. I've talked with several companies and several opportunities about marketing and sales and different things, and I've taken some of the things I've learned just from doing interviews and talking with different companies and things to add to what I'm working on in my personal branding and marketing. It's actually been very educational. I've learned a lot. I've gotten a lot of good advice. So I'm using that for my personal brand to rebrand. Focus on fashion, of course. I have my online stores. We're here to, recycle. We're here to bring fashion, recycle fashion, make it affordable, secondhand, and show that secondhand is just as good, if not better, because sometimes you find pieces that the fashion stores and designers don't carry anymore. So we see ourselves as valuable in that arena, right? But again, that's a debate for another day. If y'all want me to do a debate video on that, I'm sure I can, why not? It's also for me about fitness. I'm rebranding to focus on fitness as well. At my age, and it's jokingly because I'm not that old, but I'm a little older than kid culture now, but at my age, I need to take a bigger emphasis on fitness personally, and because I want to help other people that, I have family, friends that constantly telling me about health problems and struggles and obesity and, different things happening from a sedentary lifestyle and different things, and I want to help. I know it helps me. I'm getting on a regime of at least 5 nights a week in the gym, or doing some type of, either weightlifting or cardio. I'm, of course, reducing my emphasis on cardio because, again, this is debatable, but a lot of the experts say that weightlifting is where it's at, right? That does more, that has more advantages for your body, does more for your body than cardio, right? And I did just cardio for years. I was with a gym rat for many years, and we had the little debate, and he brought me around, and some people I worked with in the bar went to gym. That would make me realize, yeah, you feel different. He's like, I can't function with that. I can't work as well without it because it makes me feel better. And then when we started adding on eating better and eating at home more and different things, and I started adding more of that on myself, and eventually he got that way too. He cut out the smoking, the drinking. We noticed results, and I think to this day he looks a lot better. I'm sure he feels a lot better. I know I do. When we did those little minor tweaks to it, right? So the final part of the mantra is, so it's fashion, fitness, food for a sober solo lifestyle. So the last 2 parts of that are the sober solo lifestyle. I decided a couple months into this year, after a really unfortunate incident, which I really just kind of let one of my demons off the leash and lost control of my temper because I was drinking. And I had become a lightweight because I had been cutting back on drinking, and then one night, it was a very stressful time in my life, and things were not going how I wanted, and I was bottling something up, and I started drinking and I couldn't control it, and it just came out. It was like my inner like rage was off the leash, and I just tore somebody up like verbally. And it still haunts me to this day. I still think about it, and I'm like, whether they deserve what I said or not, which, some people do things and it's like, yeah, they kind of deserve to get ripped for it, but respectfully, you know what I mean? Like, for our own self-image and the way we want the world to perceive us and the way we want to be as human beings, whether someone deserves our criticism or not, it's not how I want to see myself as. No. So that's why I made that choice to be sober for the foreseeable future until I decide, and maybe forever, I don't really enjoy getting drunk. Again, I don't enjoy losing control, and I don't enjoy feeling sick and not well for a day or two after, because I'm getting to an age where alcohol is not agreeing with me very well. So solo lifestyle, this is again a choice I've made. It's not that I'm alone because I have to be. I could lower my standards. I could lower what I'm looking for or what I want to fit in with people either from my past or new or whatever. I could easily, bring in people into my sphere and, not have to be alone all the time, right? And alleviate my sense of loneliness, which it's not all the time anymore, but sometimes it's still like, oh my God, this is hard, but it's not like that all the time anymore. But I could alleviate that. I could easily remedy that. It's not that I'm alone because I'm so repulsive or devalued or I have nothing to offer anyone. Despite what may or may not have been told in the past, I have value, I have worth, and I do have a lot to offer, right? And I have a lot that people, at least on a very shallow level, think they want in their life, right? Because you don't really know what you want from someone until you're more involved with them, right? Or if you have to have a very centered, how do I put this, centered image of yourself. You have to know who you are very firmly and what you want to be able to be clear on what's going to work with another person for you, right? So that's where I feel like I've made huge mistakes in the past. And this is my fault. This is where it's been my fault, these mistakes, because I wasn't centered. I didn't know exactly who I was or have a clear vision of what I wanted. I think it was in there, and I think I knew I wasn't getting it, and so that's where I was getting a lot of frustration. But I wasn't self-aware and have enough self-esteem to be like, no, I'd rather be alone than be in a situation where I'm not valued or I'm not understood or I'm seen as a certain way or a certain type of person that I'm not, or that it's not adding value to what I want or what I need or what I'm working on. And in the past, this is a mistake I made over many, many years and with many different people. And that's something that I feel like I was just terrified to be left alone. And the funny thing is, I always ended up being left alone anyway. Like every single person that I would try to force myself to mold with would eventually just abandon me anyway. So I've relived my childhood nightmare many times over the years. That's kind of the irony of it. The very thing I was most afraid of has happened to me again and again. So this is things I've had to address, right? I've had to come to a place in my life where I'm like, okay, I have to turn and face my fear. I have to embrace the suck, embrace the being alone. I have to embrace the solitude, like turn around and face it, feel what I'm gonna feel, and then move past it, and then be good with it. And that's what I did. Oh man, it was hard. Like I had so many meltdowns and so much, like I said, I've had to do a lot of continuing to just keep moving, like running full speed because, for the longest I couldn't accept it. I couldn't wrap my mind around the fact that I might be alone forever, right? It just terrified me. It's like I did not want to live my childhood for the rest of my life. I just didn't. I don't want to keep living like that. But I have learned to move past that feeling. And Amber Scholl is another good example of someone I've always looked up to that does that same thing. She decided one day that she was just going to be cool with building her empire, and that her fans were going to be her relationship, and that, you know, she wasn't going to worry about it. And she's lived a life you would see in a fairy tale. She's lived a Hollywood star life that she built by herself, you know, for herself. And I just want to be perceived as, you know, someone that's unstoppable, that someone that's not afraid, someone that life is running ahead of them and you chase after it, you run after it. Like the Secretariat quote. That's not exactly what she said, but close. Basically, that it's about life being ahead of you and you run at it. You just chase after it. Because, like, I'm always thinking why I have so much diversity in my life, why I've done so many different things. Life is short. I don't want to miss out on anything, any opportunities. I don't want to waste it, you know, on what could have been, or, you know, trying to force some kind of narrative, or, you know, hoping that things will be the way I want them to. I'm going to make them how I want them to be. And they're going to remember my name, you know. That's the hope. I don't see anything that I'm doing as failure or not being good enough. I really think that I'm changing the narrative. And yeah, these are exciting times. I wanted to share that with y'all, and you know, maybe you can understand some of my nonsense a little better. It's just kind of doing a little comic relief in between intense grind and hustle, right? So I haven't been taking myself seriously on social media, but there's a rebranding going on. As always, I love and appreciate you guys.